holds a YouTube short with Bernie Sanders repeating about oligarchs, which is just another name of for a leader or wealthy person in Russia. Russians and Americans have been here together and have been fighting with each other at the same time since before America's founders were born. The breaching method that employed quality aspects and nature of the suburbs before America's founders were born. Quality aspects and nature about the suburbs is involved with the torture, extortion, and slavery of themselves. Factory nature slavery, therefore physical slavery. Everything they said was measured and maintained by a breaching method. Crazy laws that had internationally monitored conversations and roles with slavery entrenched even overtly with color against everyone. I mean, they had laws of factory that were equivalent to factory nature, torture, extortion, slavery, everyone, but strictly distinctly against black, and it was northern colonies and southern colonies. And our founders communicated for us to understand that. How it forced the North and South to fight about freedom while being fake and roles with it entrenched still. Northern colonies and southern colonies, northern states and southern states. Even through the Civil War, North was still entrenched with slavery. The South was right when they were calling them fake. And they were hiding behind people pretending they were for black. Well, freedom's course does not have been won. The difference between the North and South is still being explained by the breaching method. That's still replacing what America's founders communicated for us to understand. In other words, at the campuses, you guys had self-valued roles, pretending that the branches had integrity when they never had them. Because you have locations, areas, and states below whoever leader comes up there. Republican, Democrat exceptions. You guys are using and having used. You have used exceptions and exception nature, tactical ulterior from how nature does. Fake. News, predicate acts, news, World Trade Center predicate acts, leading up to the World Trade Center attack in that context and sense. And demonstrably, their roles with campuses and the campuses they went to used criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw. This breaching method knew that good people are going to let things slide. They're putting us to fake ties, to fake natures of ties to kids from other classrooms. All the kids that I went to school with would tell you other than they've been pretending in the background. Or why would you talk about people like that in this thing? They're changing and faking what we say. And they're putting kids that we never had classes to fake ties with us, with the news at the same time. More child abusers, years of leaders of kids first forced years apart. It's recorded how that was perpetrated. There's a Leahy family interstates with this. In other words, I put the link here to a YouTube short with a David Parkman and a Bernie Sanders. See, there's a talking heads with one of the intelligence families involved with more leaders of the kids in their conversations with kids since they're adults now involved with more child abusers, leaders of kids. Intelligence families, foreign and domestic, they're shared next to campuses in ways they are directed to hide. And they use that to hide all kinds of other things, including the corners of the campuses and corners of streets next to it, planting evidences with the sources of the news, and they know their names. They're hiding. They're refusing to follow mandated law. Increasingly, people tied to and as a Paul Kelly are involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders with the military, Marines, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard. Coast Guard tied to a Joshua Julian with the Facebook page of the principal child defender, involved with more all different Army too. There's a Mr. Burstein with his kids, involved with as a sixth grade teacher. When I had a different sixth grade teacher, and then there was a Debbie Gold too. I don't know who her teacher was, but she was the daughter of a former Mayor Gold. Increasingly collusions with overt criminal enterprises and private ones, and people tied to other mayors, intercities and intra-cities, and intercity and intra-city Weathersfield. The mayors will tell you this. We never had conversations. There's a Morin group reportedly involved with the Weathersfield town offices, further involved with Julie Morin, involved with the principal upskirt nature, and the South Saviello involved with the FBI and some courts and state police and whiting forensics, with his neighbors involved with body dumping spots and their confessions of their role, demonstrations of their roles with names on off the state judicial branch offices, with predicate acts with them and conjunctions to the state judicial branch offices and to that, like on Two Rod Highway and Hangdog Lane. They run into the Burlington Turnpike before the Hartford, and they run into the Route 3. And Chuck Casper has something to do with a Pete that knows my name. I don't know his name. It might be a Pete all along Route 3 in Rocky Hill spots, and like the Burlington Turnpike, conjunctions to Two Rod Highway. They have roles with the intelligence community involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders with kids I never had classes with, like the Pete, and like a Chet Casper. Also with people on the state judicial branch offices, with their Facebook pages, told lied about me and told to repeat it. Then they have to hide the value of their conversation. It's just like Bernie Sanders is being forced, tricked, hurt, persuaded to hide the value of his use of words like oligarch. How are they going to go after oligarch when there are black people's rights of eyes addressed? Fake scientists spoke for the differences of the impositions recorded clearer than day, juxtaposed upon and concentrated upon the people of the suburbs, let alone of the cities, and where and how Hartford is described as a urban/urban, and that was is designed to be described that way, as collusion/yes, with those differences. The suburbs were designed tactically many ways. Criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw, tactically unsafe, involved with the torture, extortion, slavery method to cause negative value nature, progressions, acts, and natures. There are less and less worms in the soil every year. They served the function for nature when there were no worms. I mean, when there were no bugs in the rain, on the freshwater bodies of water that are no longer, like ponds that are no longer there, and the ones that are there tactically to nature no longer hold fish in a sustainable way. In other words, nature shows us what causes evolution's fruits, gifts, means out of nowhere. It even gives the worms to walking into water when all of a sudden there are no bugs on the surface of the water. In other words, even sometimes when it's not raining, they're walking into water, worms. Not just into puddles. They're no longer even there to walk into puddles. On a mass scale, we have problems. Because also there are less bugs to be found by the birds in the rain. But now all of a sudden there are worms walking up out of the ground. See, these worms serve a function. There are proofs that there are people that have, I'll show a link to it when I get a chance. There are links that people try to pretend that worms were brought over here and they weren't here before. The readings of American history, of ancient history, semi-ancient history, that are criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw in our faces. These people need to hide how they were using roles with uses of isms, etc. The value of their differences. Witch trials alone are about the three, even no matter who made them up, they're about how those laws had collusions with use/s of difference of guilt with itself, the breaching of it, as overt criminal enterprises, private ones, the three branches of government, the intelligence tied to them, the state offices now, the colonial and early states equivalent, state offices then, like the state judicial branch office, state corrections offices. State corrections offices has a whole bunch of people tied to a Lance Cuddy. I don't know if he has brothers or sisters. His family is involved with houses and businesses along and conjunctive to Park Street, and Hartford, where they also have cultural racketeering worse than differences, racketeering worse than war crimes, identity theft, fraud, slanders, switching names, roles at crime scenes, with the courts that do it interbranch and all sides of cases at the same time, and lawyers and their family members put in the same sequence shifts. These are also people on both sides of the cases and the court itself in the Ninth Circuit Court next to the World Trade Center. Sequence shifted. There are more people with the federal agencies and in foreign and domestic intelligence at Central Connecticut State University in New Britain, Connecticut, who had collusion/S with that and other sides of cases with judges, prosecutors, and their family members. Criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions are all. They're with between agencies. They have roles with the names at and next to Hartford Hospital, like Tomorrow's Market through time. I don't think they're still there. There's one in Rocky Hill with them now, and places associated with them. And Weathersfield Pizza House and Weathersfield Pizza have a Joshua Schumack with 3 spots at the end of the Berlin Turnpike. May fake ties to me, fake nature. You have other people record fake things with a Mark Violet. Involves also some KKK Confederate flag themed, and black themed and Latino themed, and touching me to fake conversations with police when I was a kid and now I was an adult. Weathersfield police switching and forging names, put me in fake conversations with them at the police station. That wasn't at all. And as an adult, it wasn't at all. They stole one sentence I said to my Saudi friend and put me in, and as ones that tied to DeMorals with the Mendez police, have roles of my Saudi friend. Increasingly with confession to me about that. No, I try to leave it out and keep it bringing it up. They have roles intercities with people named Scalora, also with predicate acts, with police refusing to identify themselves on my street. And they have roles with people I recognize, but I don't know the names. Names of that know my name from other areas. I've been planting evidence on all sides of my street, and they're lying about their motivations about why. Two times after the one time I forced people to call by forcing them verbally to call the police without telling anyone why. They hid what I caught them doing. That's why I did that. They put me in fake conversations with themselves. And they're still not recorded, won't respond to me with that. Interbranch forging, switching names, putting fake things in databases. Then 2 times more, they brought in even more doctors' names and things like that. With those things, all kinds of little tricks. Like they have people with the Weathersfield town officers involved with the Afghan leaders and kids, and people with the military involved. In other words, I don't know their names, but it's tied to a Jamie Smith and his mother, and a David Smith, and their roles with fire departments too, and with the people with the Hartford Hospital involved with home break-ins. And a detective Dylan and a guy who said it was his partner, and some state police and their family members interstates. I don't know. They're involved with the conversation. And Whiting Forensics increasingly with the Joshua Julian, involved with digital crime acts and methods with a principal obscure nature, who they were forging and changing evidences digital with, including with the courts, including with District Court of Connecticut, with a Brian Silver, many people tied to Brian Silver with the District Court of Connecticut, planting evidences with a Kevin Harris, and people at Quinnipiac University with a Fred Grisette, involved with overt criminal enterprises, private ones, medical offenders of kids, foreign and domestic, like this Leahy family with the CM Paglione family and a Fred Grisette, planting predicate acts between campuses, including private and public schools, putting sequence shifts, also with the family members of judges. Also, they mess with people's food with one of the Latino guys associated with the other natures of like black KKK with their intelligence. We're tied to a Mike Pandolf, and an Anthony Pandolf. I never met an Anthony Pandolf. A Mike Pandolf, I only know him seeking me out. He's recorded seeking me out to make federal evidence his crime, planting roles with foreign and domestic, and his educators, all sides of criminal and civil cases, in the court's names at the same time. including, in other words, collusion/S. And with people from Washington, D.C., tied to two speech class teachers I had and their roles all along Route 175 from the founding locations, and their roles replacing that and screening and pretending things are debatable that are not. Webb House. Then they changed the name to Webb Stevens House. The nature of debate regarding things contains quality aspects of nature, criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw. This is at campuses in Russia and in America. They have roles also with psychiatry, where we can measure this. They have been covering things that have criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw, readings of American history, and with Russians involved with it in ways that shows that the Russians against Russians too. On a mask, it's just concentrated there though. Various natures of courts are involved with this Leahy family of doctors at Hartford Hospital with probate court judges and superior court judges and their family members and district court involved, Connecticut District Court and the news locations and with names next to the news locations. Their roles with the buildings next to Fox Connecticut News are increasingly people that were put to fake ties, fake natures of ties to me. A Rick C. M. Paglione recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed he was influenced to do that with the corner of the street of a proven principal child abuser. I don't know if he knows about that, but he would confess, recorded, demonstrated, confirmed. I never had a conversation with Erin Murphy, who was the daughter of one of the principals involved with one of the people further involved who forced the principal child abuser, and she's still with the schools. And she confessed to Lance Cuddy involved with it. And Lance Cuddy is also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with federal crimes with people associated with locations, also associated with the lawyer of Robert Luskin, former director of the FBI, former standing chairperson of the Racketeering Influence to Corrupt Organization Act. He has a Robert Chevrolet, not far from the Harry Beecher Stowe, Mark Twain houses, and that's not far from the Connecticut State Capitol. And they have a bunch of people along Route 3 and its conjunctions who have roles with people from intelligence families from other classrooms. And they put, like, you're going to walk by and they're going to say something, and then you can't go. They're putting fake ties, fake natures of ties, fake behavior, fake feelings about people are one of the things that connects a whole bunch of strangers I don't know at all, but I could show their names and time uses of them as World Trade Center predicate acts roles. Connecticut's Channel 3 News, for example, WFSB has predicate acts, World Trade Center, fake conversations with me, with themselves, and with others. Also with people that are next to them, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with predicate acts between campuses, intercities through time. A whole bunch of people I don't know at all, and people that were put in classes with me specifically for federal evidences for predicate acts roles that they have with those people, regardless of their intelligence, what they're doing. It's important to get them on paper. And Eric Oliveri will demonstrate this to you. I never tried to contact him. He was influenced to plant evidences. Also, next to the as people involved with body dumping spots and their roles within as neighbors of victims of the World Trade Center attack. They had collusions with the Saudi attackers, also with WFSB, also per their use of their location/S, originally instilled with intercities people and their roles with the campuses through time, with the names increasingly involved. Increasingly, people associated with WFSB have roles with the South Civiello a number of ways. That his neighbors are increasingly, and people tied to his neighbors are increasingly demonstrating and they recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed involved with predicate acts with him, identity theft, fraud, slanders with him and his mother, and a Richard Dombrowski involved with wire crimes with the Wethersfield police, who are switching and forging names. With an O'Brien family, too, with wire crime acts and methods with them. Evidence is planting with a whole bunch of different countries. It's their roles with Mark Violet and and Michael Roberts and others have roles, and people with the name tomorrow have people from Korea involved with them, with identity theft, fraud, slanders, with medical crimes at Harvard Hospital, with the businesses and with the houses next to it, like at my own house. Sought me out as a complete stranger, record, confess, demonstrate, confirm his rules with sequence shifts of federal evidences, crimes, identity theft, fraud, slanders with my neighbors. That I didn't even know them together. I never saw them, but Ray Colo had repeated his name to me. Ray Colo repeated the name Joshua Julian to me too. He's also one of the ones involved with the Facebook page of the principal child abuser, also with former police chief Cintron, and 1 years ago involved with a Colo house and others on involved with planting evidences on the sides of my house with a Joshua Julian, Officer Jerry Miller on the opposite side. That's on the southern side. And he's on Facebook page of the Wethersfield Police, and New Bridge Superior Court has their whole bunch of Facebook pages they brought involved with it. And with former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, their roles with West Hartford locations, and Dean Judd before the World Trade Center attack. Dean Alford also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed after the World Trade Center attack too. Roles with predicate acts with people tied to, and as a Joshua Julian, and a Joshua Schumack, and a Joshua Stryker, involved with a Dean Alford, with a whole bunch of people that made confessions of my neighbor Ray Cololo, and people tied to him and his educators have been putting fake things in databases. Also with the family members of judges and prosecutors, and news at the same time, and their neighbors, even neighbors of one. Other ones with Fox Connecticut News has a whole bunch of stories tied to this too. In other words, the businesses next to them have roles with some. There are proofs that it might have been a murder, even if it was murder roles, even if it was made up about someone falling to their death from a building next to Fox Connecticut News. They have a Thaddeus Grabowski right before the 2006 district court case as one of the ones involved with the Mendez police brothers in Hartford and Wethersfield, and intercities involved with predicate acts, identity theft, fraud, slanders, putting fake communications and ties to little kids as police, at the same time with people involved with overt criminal enterprises and private ones, and some KKK, Confederate flag, intelligence families, also Black theme, Latino theme, Italian theme, Pakistani theme, Afghani theme, and you guys are leaking this, and then you guys are pretending you have to use the right to lie on a mass scale. You don't have the right to lie. Not one of you has integrity as states' rights. In other words, and the difference of that or the federal, it's only going to raise that. And then you're forced the individual leaders. Then you want to fight about oligarchs. In other words, don't leave out black pupils, whites of eyes. You want to bring up oligarch. In other words, don't bring up how the suburbs from America to Russia to Ukraine looks almost exactly the same. It was involved with the torture, extortion, and slavery of our factory nature slavery of our founders. Who denies that brings up themselves self-valuing, right, where and how that breaching method in the communications of our founders is replaced. They start self-valuing criminally foreign influence, factory nature, quality aspect nature. We would have discerned this. Also, in other words, in the prisons too. Sandy Hook prisons has roles with their patients and criminals at the crime scenes, including a body dumping spot, and with the names next to it before they were caught. They had collusions there. All kinds of predicate acts with facts roles there. All kinds of natures of organized crimes with the people that run the prisons, with the people that run the branches of government, different types of courts. Really sick, concentrated corruption in different ways for different reasons. But they also come with those differences being used remotely too. Oh! So please get them on paper, Bernie Sanders. Let's go let's get them on paper regarding the predicate acts. Don't change and fake what I say and what others say. Mass uses of conspiracy theory by people that are supposed to be medicine and medical. Mass scams against the people. Mass wicked bad, juxtaposed, tactically distinct natures of organized crime. to use the roles non-distinctly used too, because that's roles. They've been used guys remotely since you guys were kids, communicating other than what nature communicates about the founding locations, and with our founders themselves, you replacing their communications. What witch trials are about. You don't leave it out from what slavery was about. You don't leave that out from what how a breaching method employed black and white to communicate other than nature communicates with it, except for when nature's criminal insidiousness, nature demonstrating it. And you guys pretend that's other. You guys pretend someone spoke for truth. You guys only use truth for lies. All lies. Who disbelieves?